Here on top of this roof, you can see we've been working away, and we're almost done one half of this upper 412 part of the barn roof. You can see here we've already installed our wall flashing here, or counter flashing to do this transition from this steep slope to the lower. When we do the shingles up here, we're going to tuck underneath this wall flashing and put the shingles underneath there. Over here you can see we've started basically a new roof system under these. On top of this counter flashing, we put a new weather watch on top so that no moisture can slip in between. You can see the weather watch here, and then on top of the weather watch we've started with our starter shingles again and into our field shingles, working our way up the roof system. We always install in a diagonal pattern as per the manufacturer. It's the only way to get your straight lines. You can see each of these shingles are spaced about 6 inches apart, each one. There's little tabs on top of the shingles here. You can see this little cutout here. This is there from the manufacturer just to let us know where we need to install our shingles. And you can see that our shingles here line up on those tabs every single time. And that just ensures we have that good overlap and good nailing shingle alignment. You can see again, we have, in this particular case, we have 2 rows of weather watch. We have a coverage of about 88 inches. These are 44-inch rows each, and this has given us really, really good protection. On top of that, we have the deck armor that's covering the rest of the roof system, and nailing patterns over here. You see our red chalk line. We have our nails installed along there. We have our 6 nails on the shingle because it's a little bit of a high wind area up on this part of the roof. And around the stacks and the vents on this roof, we're going to be doing this a little bit differently than normal. What we really like to see here is to have a good overlap of leak barrier on top of the vent prior to the shingle installation. So you can see here we actually have a row of a strip of secondary underlayment, the weather watch, covering the vents halfway before we put the shingles down. That just makes sure if there's any excessive rain or snow or ice that's trying to build in along this vent and try and sneak under the shingles here, that it gets stuck on that leak barrier so that it can't actually reach the roof deck, and that keeps everything safe. You know, a house like this, we're going to be putting a good ridge vent product all the way along the ridge. So once we're finished with this side and we're finished with this side, we're going to cut 2 inches across the ridge along both sides and allow that air space, the attic space, to flow out, and that's going to be our ventilation product here. Another interesting note about this project is that because we're adding that extra insulation here, we're adding at 4 inches of cross venting. This whole roof deck is going to be lifted up by 4 inches, so there's going to be an enormous amount of exposure here of insulation and plywood that wasn't exposed before. We have to find a way to cover that. We could buy a custom metal flashing to come over top, but if you see over here, here's an area that we've already finished. You can see the amount of the thickness that this sticks up. So we need to cover that somehow. And the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to put in a new fascia board. We ripped off the old fascia board from over here. We ripped off this old fascia board, and we're going to install a new one that's bigger, that covers up this whole space and fits underneath our rake edge flashing here. So this is all going to be covered by a brand new fascia board that's painted to match the existing roof, and it's going to look great when it's done. We still have our rake edge, and we're in good shape. You can always find a lot more of these videos and more information on our website, roofhospital.com. Feel free to contact us anytime if you have any questions about your roofing project. And remember to be proactive and let us help.